Good morning, everyone. So it's now the 20th of December, a bit hard to believe, 5 days till Christmas, crikeys. Anyway, and it's 7 o'clock in the evening down here in Hobart, and we're waiting for the first boat, Simon, and when will he arrive, who knows. Guy is still in Cape Town and due to leave on Thursday. There's headwinds over there, which we all know about and all seen, so not a lot to show for that, but he'll take off on Thursday. You've probably read the update, the press release we just sent out last night your time if you're in Europe, and this sort of midday or so today here in Hobart, talking about Elliot and everything that happened to him. You may have listened to the SoundCloud. It's Elliot's own description of what happened. A lot of human issues there, and very demanding conditions, losing gear over the side and all the rest of it, so very disappointing for him. And it's pretty obvious now it's going to be very slow going for Elliot. He's can really only sail with the two reefs in the mainsail and a staysail, so it's going to be a long, slow trip. It'll take a month or so to get to Albany or Fremantle, wherever he decides to go. That's my opinion. It's about 2,500 miles, so if he's making 100 miles a day, which would be pretty epic, it's 25 days, so I think it'll be at least a month. And that leaves virtually no time to repair and get through the gate on time. Once he lands, he's in Chichester and it's all over. So that's kind of disappointing. For Guy, still a big challenge. He's got I think it was 5,500 miles to go or something. And anyway, it worked out the average speed he's got to make is 132 nautical miles a day. Not impossible, but it'd be pretty epic if he can pull it off. So let's wait and see how that goes. Big challenge for him. It's really a race, so he'll probably enjoy that. He'll be ticking off the miles and counting every one. Anyway, so just coming back now, it's pretty benign through here at the moment, and that's always a good thing. We haven't got any major storms to report for the moment, but just picking it up here to look at what Elliot's going through. He's still had pretty calm conditions. The idea is he should be ultimately up around 40 degrees south. That's a good place to be because it's maybe a little bit more mild conditions the higher you go. He still needs wind to blow him to Australia, but certainly you can get more severe wind down here than you can at 40. So as he's able to, I think you'll see him slowly start to angle up. He's not going to go north and then turn right. He'll just bear in mind that any opportunity he can get to go north, we've suggested that's a good idea. Because of his situation and risk evaluation and assessment, we'll give him weather reports when we think that's able to give him a better and safer opportunity to make a faster passage to Western Australia. So, we'll keep an eye on him. Anyway, for now, it's pretty benign, and you just saw then he was facing north, but the new positions have just dropped in. Still not going anywhere, 0.2 of a knot for the last 4 hours, but I think he'd be sailing now. I think his speed's probably a few knots, going to the east, because this wind gradient from the northwest is starting to build, so he's probably been sailing for the last hour or so, and it's actually going to pick up quite a bit in the next couple of days. Ian Herbert Jones looking okay, 6.4 knots and 112 nautical miles in the last 24 hours, so that's kind of nice. We'll look at what's happening with the weather for these guys right now for the next couple of days, just to see how that looks. So we'll go forward as things are developing pretty quick these days. Go forward a day and you can see what's happening. Boom, that northwesterly north-northwesterly has turned into a northwest and keeps getting stronger. This is forecasting 30, gusting 40. So Elliot's in for a bit of a ride, and it'll slowly pick up for Ian as he goes across. It's not, it's okay for him. He sort of knows what's going on, and we'll send him an update in the next couple of hours just to say expect it to build for all of tomorrow, and then it'll start to get quite strong. But it is moving fast, so you can see it doesn't last very long. So you've got to hang on for the ride, and you can't put any big sails up anyway. So you'll take it easy. We'll have a look at the sea right now because there's another one coming behind. It's probably going to be 4 meters or so. There's 4s and 5s there. There's 5 meter seas, and the direction is going to maintain. The seas will be building for Ian, so similar stuff, up to 5 meters. So it goes from the northwest. It'll settle down for a few hours, not long, probably 12, 18 hours or so by tomorrow night. And then it's come in from the south. And again, from northwesterly to south, could start some confusing seas, but he should be well able to manage that. He knows what's going on. He's had a chance to have a bit of a rest today. He did work really hard. If you haven't listened to his SoundCloud, have a listen to it. It's quite surprising what he went through to try and sort the issues. Anyway, a few classic human errors, and then just tough going, losing bits and pieces and stuff like that. It was really epic. So he should be quite okay with that, heading up a bit and then making reasonable time. Ian's the same. He had to have a reasonable ride, and then there's the risk if Elliot's gone north a bit, then he's going to be pushed north because it's going to swing around to the southeast. So anyway, over a period of time, it sort of works out okay. No big storms there. So that's for Elliot and Ian. Ian's got to keep the move on as well, of course. I think he's comfortably going to make it, but he doesn't want to go slow for any length of time. So that's going to be very important for Ian as well. Okay, Jeremy, sitting back here, getting close to the edge of the zone, doing 5.6 and made 88 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. And Michael Goog on Nuri doing 5.7 knots. And he'd be happy with that. 143 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. That's good. I'm not sure. I haven't heard whether he's been getting weather reports, but he always seems pretty happy. So it should be okay. I think I'll leave the other three right till the beginning, and we'll just see what their weather's going to do here for the next 24 hours. So that's a bit more than 24 hours. Did it roll over? I didn't see it roll over. Hang on. Yep. So in fact, I'll toggle it through. The internet's okay. Yep, so it's just more of the same for Goog. Getting a bit stronger for Goog, goes lighter for Jeremy. This is now 24 hours. That's it's gone a bit lighter for Jeremy for a while, and it's starting to build again, and it'll build quite strong. Michael is going to start to lose the breeze, a soft bit. So this is on the 22nd, coming into 24 hours. So 2 days ahead. And then again for Michael, depends where he goes. If he keeps going south, it's going to get a bit stronger for him. But I think he'll probably start to level out because he'll be keeping one eye. His left eye will be open onto Hobart, thinking where's he going to go? How far does he need to go? I'll just build this back a bit so you can see there is a system developing here. This one here is going through. We'll talk about it in a minute. But anyway, this is now 2 days ahead. And it'll depend on where Captain Good goes, but we're mainly just looking at Jeremy and Michael at the moment before we get into Abolish and so on. This is the 23rd. This is 3 days ahead. This is a dandy, this one. And by then, 3 days ahead, I think Jeremy should be about 400 miles. 3 days, it's 475, so he'll be somewhere here. He might not drop off the edge too far, but there's a lot of wind down here anyway, and so we'll keep an eye on that and probably give him a warning as this comes closer if we think he's going down south. So we can just roll that through a bit more. So looking at Jeremy and Michael, it's holding across. There's plenty of breeze there, and it's going to go right across where Nuri is going to be. So yeah, that'll be a weather report for that one for sure. So there's a bit of solid breeze coming to give him a boost across into Tassie. That's the 24th. So that's 4 days ahead. It's pushing right through there, and the others all came down in this zone. So we'll keep them updated on that. Not that there's anything wrong with it, because it's all constant direction. You remember if it said if you get a sudden wind change where you get big strong winds coming from the west and then all of a sudden it comes from the southeast, it's a big problem with the seas. Or even 90 degrees can be challenging, but this is a big wind, same direction. So the seas are building, the seas at that stage, if this forecast holds true, there you've got it there. So that's into 9s and 10 metre seas, so that's a dandy, that one. Just building and forming big long open swells with breaking waves on them. So if it's forecasting at 9 to 10, it could be 12 metre seas. So that's a very big system, and it looks like it's going to go right through to Tassie. So okay, so just to follow that, we'll look at that again, no doubt, in a minute, because I want to relate it to the lead group now, and you can see they're in 2 metre seas at the moment, and these big seas are going to come from behind. So I'll pick this up a bit here and we'll focus on Abelish and Kirsten and Simon making their way to Hobart. And it's going to get really tricky. Just to put a relative situation on it at the moment. Okay, this is Simon. About 300 nautical miles to Hobart. And if we use the same one there for Kirsten, at the moment, about 500 nautical miles, so 200 miles difference. We mentioned that in the release this morning. So it's about 200 miles difference for Kirsten, but it'll all depend on how they get there, like who's going to be tacking, who's going to manage straight line, things like that. And we've got, if we look at Abelish here, Abelish is currently, from Hobart, he's 780. So 5, 6, 7, he's less than 200 miles behind Kirsten in a relative sense to Hobart. Okay, so it's all going to be quite interesting and very hard to predict, because if you watch this, I'll just advance this in hourly sequences. So this is now midday, and you can see here, if we look at Kirsten now, Kirsten's even got a bit of west in it, but it's a northwesterly for sure. It's west of north, so she'll be able to keep rolling on this, and she should be going straight for Tassie now, because she's on the back edge of it. And this is by 12 hours or so later, 18 hours later, and this is now rolling into the 21st, and it starts to soften. So if we take it one day. Okay, so that's near enough to 24 hours from now, and she's going to run out of breeze. She'll have a good slant for a while, until midnight tonight or something, Europe time, and then she's going to run out of breeze and slow right down. And what did Simon do? Simon's able to probably flatten out his course a little bit and cut across this stuff, but he's also then potentially going to start to get soft conditions as it goes forwards. Abelish is going to be a bit the same. He's going to run out, but then these stronger winds are going to catch up from behind. So if we go through to that's a day and a half away now, and Kirsten's going to be going light. Simon's he'll be into that light patch for sure. Heading across, it gets very hard to predict now. But this is now coming to the 22nd. So that's 2 full days. This is 48 hours time. And let's say Simon's made a vector made good or velocity made good towards the finish of about 80 miles. So that's each day. So that's 160 miles. So he'll be about halfway. So he's going to be about here somewhere in the middle. And this is on the 22nd, I think, 20, 21, 22. On the 22nd, he's halfway. He's going to be about here somewhere. Okay. And there's not much wind, so he's going to slow down. At least he's in the right direction. Kirsten is going to be around about here somewhere with a following breeze, so she'll be starting to close. She'll pick up again. So while she lost out a bit to Simon in the next 24 hours, she's going to pick up when he slows down again after the next 2 days. And Abelish is going to be a bit the same. Abelish is just riding, just following up behind Kirsten in a nice way and gaining a little bit every day. So that's kind of interesting. Now I need to go back here and continue the toggle on the weather. So we'll work it through till the 23rd, which is when I reckon I've been saying Simon may get in late on the 23rd, but by the look of this, if this forecast holds, there's no wind there. There's very little wind. And so here we go. You can see Simon's now stopped in that breeze. Kirsten is going to follow up. She went slow then. So Kirsten will be in here somewhere. Simon will be up here, stopped, and then Kirsten will come up with this breeze. It's coming as a northwesterly, so it's going to push her along. And I'm not going to say she's going to just start to catch up more in Simon, but I reckon she'll hold her own all the way in. So she'll end up being about 2 days behind Simon whenever she gets there. So here we go on the 23rd. You can see Kirsten and Abelish now will be riding this in big time. They can just reach across there on 7s, 6s and 7s, just bore up, and if Simon's close in here, he's just sitting there and they're racing towards him. So it could be 150 miles behind by the time Simon's there, which is only 1 day. And then it depends on what happens when Kirsten calls in there. But it looks like Simon's going to get very light winds. You can see if now I blow that up to get a really good look. And you got to also remember this weather report now is 3 days in advance. That may not be, may not be looking so good then. Probably a bit too tight there. Okay, so Kirsten, plenty of breeze. Simon struggling to get in here in the wind shadow, and that's the 23rd, midday UTC, and that's about when I would project that he's going to arrive. So we'll keep pushing that through, and let's just see how long that wind works. You can see now this breeze is perfect for Kirsten. Simon's sitting there. He's now probably taken off, and he'll be going out this way. He's gone into quiet stuff as soon as Simon leaves. All right. And then Kirsten and Abelish are coming along. They're roaring up here in this breeze. Oh, there's a lot down there. We'll have a look at that in a minute. And then it goes quiet again for Kirsten. So this local weather effect is really hard to predict, but generally there's calms in there all the time, and this is some big winds. So Abelish is going to be boring up there, and Kirsten's going to get a ride. Oh, there we go. That's exactly what we want. On the 25th, that wind now goes right into the Derwent and would be okay for sailing right up. And this is about when I'd expect to see Kirsten as well. So it's going to be very interesting. Highly unlikely that what we're seeing now on the screen is going to actually happen, but you never know. Anyway, let's just backtrack a bit and just look at this big coloured section here, and we'll see what this looks like. I'll come back here. Okay, so that's on the 22nd, late in the day, and it's going to come across. It will have gone through Goog, and it's going to affect Kirsten and Abelish. Simon will be really close. The severe stuff is heading down. That's not too bad. Oh, this is the big one coming up behind. Okay, that's going to catch. That'll catch Michael. He'll be interacting with this one, the 24th, somewhere around here. So that's interesting. And then Abelish is dropping down, so it's not too bad. So nothing extreme, but certainly some heavy weather coming for him. And overall, if I had to say anything, I think you see Kirsten is probably going to take out a bit more than Simon, but it is very hard to predict.